Hi everybody, Dr. Laina here, and today I'm going to cover the best way to sit on the floor and how to make sure that if you do have to sit on the floor for long periods of time, whether you're a school teacher or you're at your son's soccer game, that you don't end up very sore from doing so. So first and foremost, I'm going to link below the video about how to sit properly in a chair because we're going to cover a lot of the same principles, and I think that could be useful information. When you're sitting on the floor, it's very useful to have something like a mat that's going to soften the floor a little bit for you. But when you're sitting on the floor, one of the main things that we want to focus on, similar to sitting in a chair, is that we don't roll into this slump position. So if you can feel where those bones are that we tend to sit on the floor, what we don't want to do is allow our body, like so many of us do, to just fall behind and sit like this. The natural curve of the lower back actually goes in a little bit this way. They call it a lordosis. And when we allow our body to slump this way, this is how we damage our discs, lock up our sacroiliac joints, cause sciatica, all those kinds of things, really fatigue the muscles if we're stuck like this for too long. So sitting upright so that my weight's a little bit more forward of where those sits bones are, sitting right up on top of them or even slightly in front of them in a very relaxed position, you can see will help maintain that natural curve in my spine. So many people can sit like this for short periods of time, but if you have to sit here longer, there are things that you can do to make this a lot easier for you to maintain this position. One of our favorite ones is this wedge that we sell in our office. So you can see it's wider at the back and narrower in the front, and it's got some really nice cushion to it. So what happens is if you sit on this wedge, not only is that nice and cushy, but naturally gravity is allowing my body to come forward without me having to think about it. So if I was going to slump while I'm sitting here, I'd actually have to go uphill. So this will naturally keep your body in a much more comfortable position. You can see my knees are actually falling slightly, the front of my thighs is falling slightly lower than my hips. A couple other things that you can use for this same purpose, and I'll put some links below so that you can find these if you're looking for them. This is a meditation cushion that a lot of people really enjoy sitting on, also called a zafu. So again, if I just sit up on it, you can see a slightly different position, but same idea. My knees fall lower than my body, and this is a much more comfortable position, much easier for me to maintain and not fall back into that position that's going to harm my lower back. Similarly, you can just sit on a pillow. That will help as well, anything that will boost you up. Or Backjoy makes these great little things. This is something I use when my son plays soccer all the time and I had to sit on the grass. So the way that this is angled, when you sit on it, it will naturally tip you forward and keep you in the proper position. So any of these can be really helpful, or if you have a yoga mat that you're sitting on, just roll up the end and use that to boost yourself up. But anything that helps keep you in this forward position will be very useful. So then people will ask me, what positions do I recommend they sit in? Well, just like when you're sitting in your chair, changing up positions is really important so you don't get stuck in one position for long periods of time. And depending on your flexibility, you'll have access, of course, to different positions. So this one that I'm sitting in here right now is a very common one. So you can try this one and then, of course, switch it up, right? So you've got different muscles doing different work at different periods of time. Of course, if this is accessible to you, you can cross your legs. You can take one leg out, you could take the other legs out. It's perfectly fine to have both legs out, to take two legs to the side for a little bit and sit like that. Then you can switch them over to the other side. So you can change up positions every 10 minutes or so. We'll keep the blood moving, ensure that one position doesn't get too fatigued. In some ways, you're giving yourself a lovely little workout, a little bit of a stretch while you're sitting on the floor. We hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. We'd really appreciate it if you'd like and subscribe, and have a wonderful day.